Hi guys, my name is Jenna Minecci and I am here for the Home Sweet Home series out of my home sweet home in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a graduate of the class of 2012 in University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Represent 2012ers. And while in my time at University of Tennessee, I studied kinesiology and I participated in the sports medicine program, particularly with the lady volunteer athletes, which was uh, the most life changing, life altering, incredible experience because I'm getting choked up as I talk about it because I got to be there during Pat Summit's final 4 years. And obviously, there's a lot of emotion that goes into that, but just the honor and privilege of being there for her final years was something I will take away with me forever. So that's a little bit more background about me. But like I said, I'm here for the Home Sweet Home series, and I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about mindset training and mindset in general. I think the big thing regarding mindset right now is number one, it's a little more popular, it's a little more talked about. We're starting to learn how to be vulnerable and talk to each other about our feelings, and we're learning it's okay to not be okay, right? And thankfully, athletes in the media and all kinds of other spokespeople are helping this, which is great. Especially during a time of the past year to 15 months where we've all had our lives completely altered. We've all faced probably more hardships in the last 15 to 18 months than in our entire lives. So when is a better time to adapt than now, right? Adapt and overcome. So anyway, back to the point. Mindset. So we think about mindset. We all know we should be positive. We all know that mindset matters. We all know the silly phrases of mindset is everything and mind over matter and mindset matters and all of those things. But I don't feel like we're ever really fully equipped or taught or know how to utilize that power within ourselves. And I think the most important part is, especially when um, especially when you're in a down moment and you're struggling, that's going to be the hardest point in time for you to be mentally strong and for you to channel positive energy because you're at your lowest, you're facing hardships. So the important part, like anything, obviously, is to practice mindset. So that's what I would really like to teach you guys today. I am by no means a mindset expert because it's a daily struggle for all of us, right? We're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days. I have days where I'm on point with my mindset and it changes my entire day. And I have days where I'm not, and of course it affects my day too. So I really want to think about ingraining and inserting little tiny positive mindset experiences that you can practice each day. That way, when you have that hardship and you have, I mean, hopefully you don't, right? But if a hardship happens or if you have a bad day or a negative day, you know how to change and flip that energy, right? So hold on to the mindset topic for just a second. I just want to give you guys a little bit of background onto why I discovered all this and why I started finding it important and helpful, and ultimately how I believe it changed my life. So, long story short, when I was a teenager entering high school, I suffered an ACL injury. So I tore my ACL on one of my knees, and it was extremely difficult. I'm sure everyone knows someone who has torn their ACL, unfortunately. So we all know how hard that is. I faced that. I powered through. I recovered. I went back out to playing soccer only to have it happen all over again on the other leg. And as a 14-year-old at the time, facing my second career ending surgery, or season ending surgery, I should say, that was a lot. Fast forward a little more time, and I am attempting to rehab and get back to soccer after tearing my ACL on each knee and having surgery on both knees. And I end up having a lot of trouble getting back and a lot of roadblocks. And long story short, I had to seek a lot of second opinions for surgeons and ultimately found out that my surgeries were done wrong. And first off, this is a topic about mindset, not ACL stuff. So, not trying to scare people here. Keep in mind, this was like 2004. So, if you're having ACL surgeries now, they've gotten a lot better. Side note, please do your research on getting a quality surgeon. That's all I'll say on that. So don't be scared about your surgeries, as a side note. So anyway, I'm 15 years old, facing having both of those surgeries fail and realizing that the entirety of my high school career is not going to be soccer. It's not going to be soccer leading me to a Lady Vol soccer career like I envisioned. It was going to be 4 ACL surgeries, one every year of high school. So every memory, every dance, everything. It was a lot. So anyway, that's not the end of the story. Many years later, not that many years later, I have now had 9 knee surgeries due to those 2 initial injuries. I have never played sports again since 2004. But what happened to me was obviously uncontrollable, which makes it so hard mentally to bear. And on top of that, it was 17 years of my life that were, surgery, recovery, surgery, recovery. I had 9 surgeries in a 17-year time frame. So dealing with the pain, the physical barriers, the fear, the being alone, not relating to my peers, any sport or activity based career gone. I was still a kinesiology major, right? So anyway, physical implications, health, difficult recovery. I say that all to say it was very hard mentally, but relating a lot of what I learned and what I went through, trying to power through and get through my surgeries, has helped me so much in getting through the pandemic and navigating all of the uncertainties and the physical and mental barriers and health concerns we might have now, and all the confusion and all the changes. So I thought that this would be very relevant and very helpful for all of you to kind of maybe take some of these daily tips, use them now as a daily thing, but have them ready for whenever you need them, whenever your low point happens. Hopefully it doesn't. So there was a point in these surgeries, once I had had 4 or 5 of them, I got to the point where I knew everything. I knew what to expect, going into the OR. I knew the process. I could almost tell the nurses, hey, has so-and-so done this yet? I mean, it was that bad. So, but I'm also a teenager, and it's terrifying for anyone when you roll into that surgery room. And if anyone's had surgery before, they kind of wheel you in there, and it feels like you're almost like in this alien spaceship. Like you're just in this white room, and there's a million lights on top of you, like blinding you and peering at you. And there's like 10, nurses and doctors around you looking at you. And it's terrifying. You're about to be put to sleep. It's super scary. So my mindset stuff actually started with helping me to deal with that initial moment rolling into surgery like that. I kind of realized that I had that moment of sheer terror and fear and uncertainty, and then they put the anesthesia in me and I'd be out, right? And I tried to change that. So I decided, okay, when I had another surgery, which unfortunately happened, I wrote down positive affirmations, and I started writing positive statements so that I could put my mind in control of the situation, of the fearful situation. And so when I rolled into that surgery room the next time in the OR, I handed those affirmations to my anesthesiologist. And as I was falling asleep, instead of counting down from 10, he sat there and read my affirmations to me. And it said, for me, it would say I am, but he was reading it to me. So it said, you are safe. You are healthy. You will heal from this surgery. This surgery will not stop you. And that's the last thing I remember. And I, fell asleep from the anesthesia drugs. And I know this sounds crazy, but when I woke up from that surgery, I felt so empowered. I felt so positive, and I felt so in control in compared to the other 4 or 5 surgeries I'd had before that. And in that moment, I just knew I was onto something. And I also knew with surviving these terrible ACL 10 to 12 month recoveries that there were going to be a lot of low points in my journey where I was going to keep needing these phrases. So I go home and I start kind of writing a few down. And my advice to you guys is do the same thing. You want to start with statements that are in your control. So what I call them is the I can, I am and I will statements. That way, everything is in your control and focus on what you can do in the present moment. Because again, the past is gone, you can't control it. The future's not here yet, you can't control it. Your happiness lies within today and what you think and feel and how you perceive today. So each day, I would start my day writing out maybe 5 or 10 affirmations, 5 or 10 I am, I will statements. Things like, I am strong and ready to grow. I can do anything I set my mind to do. I will be positive and help others today. I can I can take things one day at a time. I will adapt and overcome. I will come back stronger and smarter from this surgery. I I can influence others positively. I will live in the moment today. Simple things like that. You guys can make them super generic like that. You could also make them super specific. Maybe you have a big meeting this week and you're scared about it and your mind keeps racing about the fear of the meeting and all these uncontrollable factors. But if you sit down and you write out your controllables and what you can control in the moment and say, I will own this presentation. I am prepared for this presentation. I can persuade the audience to my sales pitch in this presentation. Things like that. So you guys get the gist. You can make them really personal. You can make them really specific. You can make them really general. But I found them to be so helpful because I would start my day, instead of looking at my phone and looking at all the crap that you scroll across, I started my day with the positive affirmations and the power. Essentially, to me, it was the power of me. I was in control of my mind and those affirmations and what I was going to think all day. And even if my knee hurt or something bad happened at work or a surgery bill came in that I couldn't afford, I knew that whenever I was in a down moment, all I had to do was pull my affirmations out of my pocket that I wrote from that morning, excuse myself for a couple minutes from work, and sit there and read them. Read them out loud, read them in my head, recite them until I believe them. And I found that to be extremely powerful because, like I alluded to before, when you finally get in that dark moment or that negative moment or that scary moment, it's hard to pull yourself out of it. It's hard to find the positive. So if you already prepared yourself with a little note and you just have it ready to go and you're able to know sentences and have sentences written down that give you conviction and passion in your heart towards positivity, then you're going to be so much better prepared for that. So anyway, that's my little rant on the I can, I am, and I will statements. I highly suggest you guys try it. I also think it's a really great thing for children. Children and adolescents trying to build confidence on their own. As a kid, I was never really taught that singular, independent confidence like that. And so it's cool to know that we can take ownership of it and literally change our thought process, even if everything around us is going wrong or going crazy or hard or sad. So try those. Those are I can, I am, I will statements. And before I wrap up, I was going to leave you guys with one other suggestion. My other suggestion is called the proof board. So the proof board, same thing. It could be very general. It could be like a 2021 proof board or a I got a new job proof board or, you know, first year of, or first month of 5th grade proof board. I mean, you get the gist. You can customize it to what you're doing or what you're going through. But essentially the proof board is your proof. It is your, you know, when you have, I'll relate the college example since we're all Tennessee alumni. When you have 4 years of college ahead of you and all these courses and you know you have to make all these A's and get all these certain grades to get into this college or to get into this graduate program or job, there's all these moving pieces and this long journey, and that can be really overwhelming mentally. And sometimes you can look up and see all the negative and feel all the fear in that journey because there's no end point. It's a long journey, right? The proof board can help you remember all the small positives along the way. And for someone who's going through something really difficult like cancer or you know, loss of some kind or a really intense surgery or something like that, there will be a lot of dark days where they don't have a lot of proof or a lot of positive proof. And for that, I think this proof board is even more essential. So every single day before you go to bed, you write down anything positive that happened that day. Um, for some people, it might be, my son smiled at me and told me he loved me. I got a promotion. I finished an entire hour of my run. It could be achievements like that. But keep in mind, if you're going through a hard time, you're probably not going to have a lot of achievements, and that's where this proof board really gets you thinking. I know there were times in my journey where my proof board would only say one or two things. It would say something like, "Today was sunny and 75, and I found $5 in the parking lot." And at that point in my life, those were the only two positive things that happened. I probably had rehab all day. I was in pain. Things were going on that were out of my control that weren't necessarily positive. But when I got home and looked at that and sat there and appreciated, you know what? Despite all of that, I still appreciated the sunshine and the 75-degree weather today. And I found $5 on the ground. And that's my proof, and that's my positivity. And it kind of gives you closure and acceptance at the end of the day too, because every single day isn't going to be a win. So if you can find a couple positives out of each day, and then you flip through, and at the end of the month you look at your proof board, or 5 months into college you look at your proof board and realize, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, but look at all this stuff I've done and how positive it is. Or 8 months into your ACL surgery rehab and you're feeling upset and confused and mad you can't get your strength back, you flip back through your proof board, and again, all of your proof is there, all of your positive is there, and you can sit there and soak in that moment and enjoy it. And because basically gratitude and appreciation is how we create joy. So if we're always focused on the darkness and what's going wrong, we never stop to appreciate the joy. So think about that. Think about the I can, I am, I will statements, and think about the concept of a proof board. The proof board could, like I said, could be great for children, even great, maybe a great idea for people heading back to the office who might have anxiety about it, or a group of coworkers coming together because they haven't worked in a team in 15 months. So yeah. Basically, they changed my life. Ever since I started doing both of these things, I've continued doing them. And while I'm not having surgeries right now, I know knee replacements are in my future, and I know everything I do each day, writing down my affirmations and focusing on my proof board and what I'm doing that's positive to get me to my goals, is helping tremendously and helping with my appreciation. And I ended up in this entire journey writing a book about all of it because I felt so convicted to help people just try these little tricks of adding positivity into their lives. So yes, I will wrap this up now so that I don't talk all of your ears off, but I hope you enjoyed. If you guys are interested, you can find my book on Amazon. It is titled Surviving 7, The Expert's Guide to ACL Surgery. It is very ACL surgery specific, but there's a lot of 6 chapters in the book dedicated to nutrition and mindset and all of the other factors that go into a rehabilitation journey like that. So if you're interested, take a look. Otherwise, feel free to contact me. I love talking to people about affirmations and helping them to get a list started. I do think it's best to find affirmations that speak to you. When I first started writing my affirmations, at first I didn't believe them, and because I didn't believe them, they didn't work as well. There wasn't as much conviction and energy behind them. But eventually, the more I wrote them, the more I started writing ones that were tailored to me and tailored to what I was going through, and sentences that would make me cry just because of how vulnerable they were and emotional they were. And again, that's not going to happen the first time you start writing positive affirmations. But again, the more you practice, the more you do them, the more you'll get in touch with yourself and see what really psychs you up and energizes you and keeps you positive. So I will leave you guys on that note. focus on the positives and focus on keeping it in your power with the I can, I am, I will statements. And try out a proof board with your family or your coworkers or your kids or just for yourself privately each night. And I promise you will see a change. If you try it and you practice it and you do a little each day, you will see a big change. So anyway, thank you, Vols, Vol Nation. I'm also super excited for football, basketball, and Lady Vol basketball to start, as I'm sure all of you guys are too. And I do believe the first time that I'm in a sea of orange again after this pandemic, I'm going to cry tears of joy, and I'm going to sit there and appreciate them. And I'm going to go home and write about it in my proof board because that was my positivity. So I hope you guys all experience that moment as well. And let's go Vols. Bye. Thanks for listening and enjoy.